us. That same hour they got up and returned to Jerusalem and found the 11 and their companions gathered together, and they were saying, "The Lord has risen indeed and has appeared to Simon." And they told what had happened on the road and how he had been made known to them in the breaking of the bread. This is an appearance story of Jesus that, of all the appearance stories, is the one that is true to my experience. And by that, I don't mean it's true in the literal sense, as I don't read the scriptures literally, but true in the sense that this is the way transformation, resurrection, really happens. Those two disciples would never have recognized Jesus if it hadn't been for the fact that day after day after day, he broke bread with the disciples and followers and friends, and even his enemies. And because of that fairly unremarkable but intentional practice, they were able to see his presence there when they broke the bread together, and to realize that even though he was gone, when they broke bread in that way, he wasn't gone. He was still there. In church life, of course, this gets formalized as communion, which we don't do very well here. In our church life, I think communion is community meal. In our everyday life, it's breaking bread with family or friends. Sitting down and sharing a meal with one another, whether it's here at a church or whether it's at home with a family or whether it's somewhere with friends, seems fairly unremarkable and sometimes maybe unimportant. But when you are talking about the slow, gradual work of life transformation, it is one kind of really important practice. It is that place where we sit down and we share a meal together and we tell our stories. How was your day? What's happening in your life? Which is exactly what was happening when Jesus sat with the disciples and his friends. How was the day? What's happening in life? What are we trying to accomplish with our lives? What is our purpose here? Reconnecting in this way, and it's when it happens, day after day after day after day, that slow but incredibly important transformation begins to take place in our lives. That isn't happening, as we're reading about this in this book too, it's not something that happens at a conscious level. It's something that happens to us at an unconscious level, where we begin to become different people because we are sharing this practice together. And this is just one example, but it's an important one, I think. Yesterday we were talking about Dennis, and there were just incredible stories told about Dennis yesterday. One of the really sad things is that we only knew Dennis over the last 7 or 8 years as he's been a member of this church, which was a blessing that he was here for that many years with Alice and Tony as well. But there's a part of Dennis's life that we never knew, and we heard about it yesterday, and it was just absolutely incredible. The lives he touched, the way this place was packed with people, music people and people from where he worked and friends, church people, making connection with a family from Kenya, and then having a lifelong friendship, and they got up and they sang yesterday for us, and it was incredible. And I said, Dennis liked to talk, and sometimes he liked to talk in the middle of church, which which I said yesterday. But Dennis also was a pretty good listener, and I talked about that yesterday. And he could sit down with a person, and he could remember details, and he loved to listen to stories. And Dennis loved community meal. I mean, when he was able to go downstairs and he would sit next to somebody or across from somebody and talk. And when we would get together, he would ask me about individuals, and he would tell me stories. And that process of getting together once a month was important to him, because that was a chance to get to know somebody in a different way. And so his life was changed by that, and our lives were changed by that. And it wasn't a Damascus Road experience where there was a bright light and we fall to the ground and all of a sudden we're a different person. It was slow, gradual, steady, and important. And every single one of us is on a journey where that kind of transformation is happening in our lives. And you never know along the way who you're going to meet and break bread with and realize that you are standing in the presence of someone who's important. Not big, not famous, but important because of what's happening between the two of you. So I invite you to think about that this week, and think about the people you have known, the people you know. Think about the rituals that you have. Think about sharing meals together. And remember and think about the ways that your life is being touched and changed as that is happening. Thank you for listening. Amen.